Or you see, when it comes to connection, most people think it's about what you say, the right lines, the perfect words, the charming tone. But the truth is, or emotional openness isn't built through words alone, it's built through safety. A woman becomes emotionally open not when you impress her but when you make her feel understood, valued, and safe enough to be vulnerable. Emotional safety is the invisible foundation upon which all deep relationships are built. Or for a woman to become emotionally open, she must first feel that her emotions, opinions, and vulnerabilities are valued rather than dismissed. Without that sense of security, or even the most affectionate gestures can feel hollow. Emotional safety is not something that can be demanded. It is cultivated through patience, consistency, and genuine respect. Or when a man creates an atmosphere where she feels she can be herself without pretense or fear of being judged, or she naturally begins to lower her defenses and show her authentic self. To understand emotional safety, or you must recognize that many women carry emotional scars from past experiences, times they were unheard, invalidated, or hurt when they tried to express themselves. Or these experiences teach them to suppress emotions and avoid vulnerability. Therefore, when she hesitates to open up, it isn't defiance, it's self-protection. Or a man who understands this doesn't push or rush her to share. Instead, he listens, observes, and respects her pace. His patience becomes a silent message that says, you are safe here. Over time, that safety becomes stronger than any words he could speak. Creating emotional safety requires emotional maturity, or it means being able to regulate your own emotions, especially during moments of tension or disagreement. When she expresses pain, frustration, or fear, and you respond with calm understanding instead of anger or defensiveness, you show her that you can handle her emotions. Or this reassurance is crucial because it tells her that her feelings won't be used against her. A woman will never open up to someone who invalidates her feelings, but she will always trust the one who listens to understand, not to control. Or one of the biggest mistakes men make is thinking emotional safety means agreeing with everything she says. It doesn't. True safety is about respect, not submission. Or you can disagree respectfully while still validating her emotions. Validation doesn't mean you think she's right. It means you acknowledge her right to feel the way she does. Or, for example, saying, "I understand why that upset you," is far more powerful than trying to fix the problem immediately. Or that acknowledgement creates the emotional warmth that tells her she's seen and heard. Another part of building safety is emotional consistency, or unpredictable behavior. Being loving one day and cold the next creates confusion and anxiety. When she doesn't know which version of you she'll get, she can't relax. But when your energy, communication, and reactions remain stable, she learns that you're emotionally reliable. Or that reliability is what gives her confidence to reveal her deeper emotions. Emotional consistency is the silent promise that says, "You can depend on me to be who I say I am," or even when life gets hard. Listening is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for creating emotional safety. When a woman talks, she's often not seeking advice. She's seeking understanding. Interrupting her, dismissing her, or minimizing her feelings only pushes her further into emotional silence. Or the man who listens without judgment gives her the freedom to explore her thoughts aloud. Sometimes she doesn't even need you to solve her problem, or she just needs to know you care enough to be fully present. That level of listening tells her that her voice matters, and that's what opens her heart. Or non-verbal communication also plays a major role. Your tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language all send messages that influence how safe she feels. A soft tone or gentle eye contact and open body posture can communicate understanding more effectively than 1,000 words. Conversely, a harsh tone or dismissive gestures can make her withdraw instantly. Remember, emotional safety isn't only about what you say, it's about the energy you bring. Or your calm presence can become the safe space where her emotions can breathe freely without fear. Trust and honesty are essential ingredients of emotional safety. Lies or broken promises or inconsistent behavior destroy emotional trust faster than anything else. Once trust is compromised, it takes time and effort to rebuild. Or to make a woman emotionally open, you must show integrity in both words and actions. Be transparent, keep your commitments, and admit mistakes when they happen. Or when she sees you take accountability, she feels that your character is solid. And when she trusts your character, her emotional guard slowly begins to fade. Or creating safety also means allowing her emotions to exist without trying to control them. Some men feel uncomfortable when a woman cries or gets emotional, or so they try to shut it down quickly. But emotions are not problems to solve, they are messages to understand. When she feels sadness, anger, or confusion, or your role is not to silence her, but to stand beside her in that moment by accepting her emotions instead of resisting them, or you show that her feelings are valid and worthy of space. That acceptance is the heart of emotional safety. Ultimately, or emotional safety transforms relationships because it allows love to flow naturally. When a woman feels secure in your presence, or she doesn't overthink her words or hide her fears, she expresses herself freely and authentically. This authenticity deepens intimacy, trust, and connection. Or the walls that once protected her now become unnecessary because she knows you won't use her vulnerability against her. Emotional safety is not a tactic, or it's a reflection of genuine care and maturity. When you master this, emotional openness becomes effortless, and the relationship evolves from surface attraction to soulful connection. Presence builds trust because it shows that your attention is not scattered, that you are fully here or with her in this moment. In a world where distractions dominate, presence has become rare and powerful. When you look at her while she speaks, or when your body language says you are engaged, she feels your sincerity. Trust begins to grow when she realizes she doesn't have to compete with your phone, your thoughts, or the world for your attention. Emotional openness cannot exist without trust, and trust cannot exist without genuine, undivided presence. Or presence is your greatest silent language of care. When you are fully present, you create a sense of stillness that invites her to express herself. Or many women have lived in spaces where they felt unseen or unheard, so your attentive presence tells her that her emotions are safe to surface. Or being present doesn't mean just nodding or giving polite replies. It means absorbing her words, noticing her tone, and understanding her unspoken emotions. Or when she senses that you're not just hearing but truly feeling what she's saying, a deep psychological connection forms. Or presence builds invisible bridges that words alone can never create. Presence also communicates value. When you give someone your full attention, you are saying, or you matter. Most people crave validation, not flattery, but the genuine recognition that their feelings are important. For a woman, this acknowledgement softens emotional resistance. She doesn't need to perform or explain herself repeatedly. She can just be. Or this emotional comfort is where openness begins to bloom. The more she feels valued in your presence, the more she trusts that she won't be dismissed, ignored, or judged. Or value communicated through presence creates emotional safety and deep trust. True presence also means emotional steadiness. Or it's not only about looking at her, but being emotionally calm and grounded as she speaks. When you are restless or distracted, she feels it immediately, and her subconscious registers that disconnection as emotional distance. However, when your breathing is steady, your eyes are soft, and your focus is unwavering, she feels emotionally held. This feeling of being held by your calmness makes her relax, or her heart senses that she doesn't need to guard herself because your presence acts as an emotional anchor in the storm of her thoughts. Or listening with presence builds intimacy because it turns simple conversations into moments of connection. When she shares a story and you remember details later, or she realizes that you were truly listening, that recall demonstrates care, and care builds trust. It's not the grand gestures that create emotional openness, but these small or consistent acts of attentiveness. Presence says, I see you. And when a woman feels seen, she opens up effortlessly. Or every time you show her that her emotions have a place in your world, she begins to associate your presence with comfort and peace. Or presence also means letting go of the need to fix things immediately. Many men make the mistake of trying to solve problems the moment a woman opens up. But emotional connection is not about fixing, it's about understanding. When she talks about her struggles, she doesn't always want a solution, she wants to feel heard. Or if you jump to solve, you unconsciously tell her that her emotions make you uncomfortable. But if you stay calm, listen, and empathize, or you show her that her feelings are safe with you, that moment of acceptance deepens trust. The quality of your attention matters more than the quantity of your words. Or sometimes silence, when filled with presence, says more than advice ever could. Sitting with her emotions, holding space without judgment or interruption, or communicates profound respect. Women are deeply intuitive and they sense when your mind wanders. A wandering mind breaks the emotional rhythm, but focused presence keeps her heart aligned with yours. It tells her that you're not distracted by ego or impatience. You're here to understand. Or that presence creates emotional intimacy that goes beyond physical attraction or surface level connection. Or presence requires self-awareness because you can't be fully there for someone else if your mind is elsewhere. Or you must learn to silence inner noise, the constant mental chatter, the urge to respond quickly, the tendency to plan what to say next. When you slow down, breathe, and listen from the heart instead of the head, your energy shifts. She feels that shift immediately. Your stillness invites her to be vulnerable. Or presence isn't about performing attentiveness. It's about being genuinely curious about her inner world. Or that curiosity becomes the foundation of authentic emotional openness. Consistency in presence turns temporary comfort into lasting trust. Being present once isn't enough. Or she must feel that your attention remains steady over time. When she notices that your focus doesn't fade after you've gained her interest, or she learns that your presence is real, not conditional. Conditional attention feels transactional. It makes her wary. But consistent presence day after day, or conversation after conversation, convinces her that your care is genuine. That consistency allows her to slowly dismantle the emotional armor she built over the years, or revealing her truest, most vulnerable self. Ultimately, presence is love in its purest form. It is not loud or demanding. It is quiet, patient, and powerful. Or it requires no promises, no exaggerated gestures, just the courage to be fully available. When you are present, or you are giving her the rare gift of being understood without judgment. That gift builds trust stronger than any declaration of love. Through presence, or she learns that she doesn't need to pretend or protect herself, she can just be. And when a woman feels she can just be, or emotional openness stops being a goal, it becomes the natural expression of trust. Vulnerability creates mutual openness because it breaks down the walls that keep two people emotionally apart. Or when you show your true emotions, your fears, and your imperfections, you send a silent message that it's safe for her to do the same. Or many men believe vulnerability makes them look weak, but in reality, it shows confidence and authenticity. A woman doesn't connect deeply with perfection, or she connects with truth. When she sees you can be honest about your struggles, your humanity becomes a bridge between your hearts. Or vulnerability is not weakness. It's the most powerful form of emotional strength. When you open up first, you give her permission to do so too. Or the human mind works through mirroring. When one person expresses genuine emotion, the other subconsciously feels invited to match that energy. When you reveal your fears, or your doubts, or even your past pain without shame, you tell her it's okay to be real. This kind of openness lowers emotional defenses and replaces distance with connection. Or a woman begins to feel that she can trust you not just with her words, but with her truth. Vulnerability builds the emotional mirror that reflects authenticity. Or the key to healthy vulnerability is intention. You don't open up to gain sympathy or manipulate emotions. You open up to connect. When your sharing is genuine, or it feels grounded and authentic. When it's performative, it feels forced and hollow. True vulnerability doesn't need to be dramatic. It can be simple and sincere. Saying, sometimes I worry about not being enough, carries more emotional power than pretending to have everything figured out. Or, real connection doesn't come from showing strength, but from showing honesty. That honesty invites her to trust you with her heart. Or a woman feels safe when she knows your vulnerability comes from emotional maturity, not instability. Being vulnerable doesn't mean oversharing or losing composure, or it means being honest about what you feel while remaining steady. When you can talk about pain without being consumed by it, she sees that you are emotionally aware, or that awareness tells her you can handle emotional depth without running away. She begins to see you not as someone who hides behind a mask, but as someone who lives in truth, or that truth is what allows her to lower her guard. Vulnerability also builds empathy. When you reveal what shaped you, the moments that hurt, the lessons you learned, or the struggles you overcame, you help her understand your emotional world. That understanding opens a door to compassion. She realizes that behind your calm exterior, or there's a human being who feels and grows. It makes her want to share her own story, her own fears, and her own past. Or two people become emotionally open when empathy flows both ways. Vulnerability makes you relatable, and relatability is the foundation of lasting emotional intimacy. Or when you hide your emotions, you create emotional distance without realizing it. A woman senses when something is withheld, even if you say everything is fine, or that hidden tension makes her feel disconnected. But when you are open and transparent, it builds harmony. Transparency removes the guesswork from relationships, or it replaces confusion with clarity. A woman can only open emotionally when she feels that what she sees in you is real, or pretending to be emotionless doesn't protect you, it isolates you. Being real, even imperfectly, draws her closer because honesty is the deepest form of attraction. Or vulnerability doesn't always have to be about sadness or pain. It can also be about appreciation and affection. When you tell her what she means to you, or how her presence impacts you, or how she makes your day better, that openness deepens her emotional trust. Or many men hide their positive emotions out of fear of appearing too emotional, but withholding love is just as damaging as hiding pain. When you can express gratitude, admiration, or even vulnerability in your love, she feels emotionally safe to reciprocate. Openness in expressing warmth creates a cycle of mutual connection. Or another layer of vulnerability is admitting mistakes. When you can own your flaws without defensiveness, you show emotional maturity and self-awareness. Or a woman feels safe with a man who can say, "I was wrong," or "I could have handled that better." Accountability builds trust faster than perfection ever could. Or it tells her that your ego doesn't control you, that your focus is on growth, not domination. When she sees that you can handle being wrong without shutting down, or she learns that honesty is valued over pride, that lesson encourages her to be just as open with you. Vulnerability also tests emotional alignment. Or when you share something personal, her reaction reveals her own capacity for empathy and depth. If she meets your openness with care, understanding, and warmth, or the connection strengthens. But if she mocks or dismisses it, that reaction shows emotional incompatibility. Either way, vulnerability brings clarity, or you learn who can meet you at your level of truth. And for a woman who values emotional honesty, or your vulnerability will make her feel understood on a level words alone can't reach. It is the language of hearts, not minds. Ultimately, or vulnerability creates emotional openness because it replaces fear with freedom. It's the act of saying, "This is who I am," without disguises or defenses. Or when you have the courage to be transparent, you inspire the same courage in her. It becomes a relationship where both people can breathe freely without pretending. Or the walls fall away, replaced by trust, understanding, and mutual respect. Emotional openness isn't built through control, it's built through truth. And when two people can look at each other and say, "I see you," that is the purest form of love. Or emotional intelligence strengthens the bond because it allows you to understand emotions beyond words. A woman communicates through feelings as much as language, and when you can sense what she's feeling without her having to explain it, she feels deeply seen. Emotional intelligence is not about being overly sensitive, or it's about being aware, grounded, and empathetic. It's the ability to manage your emotions and respond wisely to hers. When you develop this awareness, or you create an atmosphere where both of you can express freely, it's this sensitivity that transforms a surface relationship into a deep emotional connection. Or understanding emotional cues is one of the strongest signs of emotional intelligence. A woman may say she's fine, but her tone, silence, or energy might tell a different story. Or a man who notices these subtle signals without accusing or overreacting shows he's emotionally mature. Instead of pressuring her to talk, or he offers comfort through calm energy and patience. This attunement communicates care and understanding without needing words. Or when she feels that you notice the emotions she hides, she realizes she doesn't need to hide them anymore. That realization builds emotional safety and encourages openness. Or emotional intelligence also teaches you to respond rather than react. In moments of tension, an emotionally reactive person adds fire to the situation, or while an emotionally intelligent one brings calm. When she's upset, it's easy to take her emotions personally or become defensive. But when you stay composed and grounded, or you create balance, your calmness tells her she's allowed to feel without being punished for it. That reaction shows strength, not weakness. Or the ability to hold emotional space without losing yourself is what makes a woman trust you deeply and open her heart fully. Empathy is at the core of emotional intelligence, or it's the ability to step into her emotional world and feel what she feels without losing your own sense of stability. Empathy doesn't mean you have to fix her pain, or it means you understand it. When you say, I get why that hurt you, instead of, you shouldn't feel that way, you validate her experience. Or validation is a form of emotional nourishment. It tells her she's not alone. When you consistently show empathy, or she begins to associate your presence with safety and understanding, making her emotionally open and connected. Another vital part of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, or you cannot understand her emotions if you cannot manage your own. Being aware of your triggers, moods, and reactions allows you to respond thoughtfully instead of impulsively. Or a man who can recognize when he's angry or stressed and control his tone earns respect and trust. It shows emotional mastery. Self-awareness creates emotional balance, and that balance gives her confidence that you can handle emotional depth. The more control you have over your own emotions, or the more she feels she can express hers freely without fear of instability. Active listening is one of the greatest demonstrations of emotional intelligence. Or when you listen with genuine attention, without interrupting, judging, or trying to fix, she feels emotionally seen. Most people listen to reply, but emotionally intelligent men listen to understand. They catch the emotion beneath the words. Or when she realizes you're not trying to win an argument, but to understand her perspective, she begins to open up naturally. Or listening in this way turns conversation into connection. It tells her that her inner world matters, and that awareness is what makes emotional bonds last a lifetime. Or emotional intelligence also involves emotional regulation, which means being the calm in the storm. When emotions run high, you become the steady center. Or women are naturally intuitive. They can sense your emotional state immediately. If you bring chaos, she'll close off. But if you bring stability, she'll relax. Or regulating your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them. It means guiding them with maturity. You can acknowledge frustration without expressing it destructively, or that composure makes her feel safe enough to be vulnerable. Emotional regulation turns conflict into growth and emotional distance into closeness. Or being emotionally intelligent also means knowing how to apologize and repair emotional ruptures. Every relationship faces misunderstandings, but it's how you handle them that defines the depth of connection. When you can say, I understand how my words hurt you, and mean it, she feels validated and respected. Or a mature apology doesn't just fix the situation, it strengthens the emotional bond. It shows humility, accountability, and care. Or when she sees that you can handle emotional repair without pride, she learns that she can trust your heart even when things go wrong. That trust deepens emotional openness, or emotional intelligence allows you to recognize patterns in both your emotions and hers. Or you begin to see when she's withdrawing not because she's angry, but because she feels unheard, or when she's quiet because she needs space, not because she's indifferent. or reading these emotional patterns requires sensitivity and patience. You respond not from assumption but from understanding, or this level of awareness prevents unnecessary conflict and builds emotional harmony. The more you learn her emotional rhythm, the more connected she feels, or that connection becomes her reason to stay open, honest, and emotionally engaged with you. Ultimately, or emotional intelligence transforms love from a feeling into a conscious practice. It's the skill of balancing empathy with strength, understanding with patience, and love with awareness. A woman doesn't open emotionally to a man who reacts impulsively. She opens to the one who feels deeply yet remains steady. Or emotional intelligence turns arguments into lessons, silence into reflection, and vulnerability into connection. Or it is the silent power that sustains intimacy long after attraction fades. When you master emotional intelligence, you don't just win her heart, you earn her trust, or her openness and her lasting respect.